It is not always the case, but sometimes you just have to let them live with their poor decisions. I'm sure we've all met these kinds of people in our life where you tell them the truth, and to them, the truth tastes like a bittersweet dose of hatred. And it's not hate at all. It's genuine truth that is being proclaimed from your being and being spoken into existence. You're not hurting this person physically, but yeah, sometimes the truth and the truth about the past can hurt as well. And it can be the most disgusting taste as well. It's like sometimes the truth is like, oh, you know what I really don't like? Some people may not disagree. Some people may disagree with me on this, but I really just don't like Brussels sprouts. I don't know what it is. I've never liked Brussels sprouts. I've tried to like them, and it's just not for me. It's just not for me. And one time I was at my grandpa's house, and we made Brussels sprouts, and I don't know what the hell happened to those Brussels sprouts, but we did not make them right, and they came out super mushy after we boiled them. And I don't know if we just boiled them too long or what, but ever since then I've never been able to eat Brussels sprouts the same. And sometimes the truth is like that Brussels sprout, man. Sometimes the truth is just that soggy, disgusting looking vegetable that you don't want to eat. You don't want to taste that shit, but there's not anything else to eat around here, and you have to eat. You know, you've got to do what you got to do to survive sometimes, and you got to do what you got to do to just make it through the next day. But the truth is that some people are just liabilities. Some people are just going to have to be write-offs. You know, they're just part of the casualties of your spiritual journey. And I don't mean that to disregard them. I don't mean that to degrade them. It's just the truth. It's that you're on another level. You're going somewhere that other people are not. That doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect. That doesn't mean that you're not going to make mistakes. It just means that you're going to be harder to manipulate. And some people that like to manipulate don't want to be around those kinds of people that are hard to manipulate. And guess what? If you're a person that's hard to manipulate, then you have it going on for yourself. You know exactly what it's like to smell the spiritual essence of a narcissist, and they're just like a walking spiritual trash. It's like a walking spiritual trash smell when you can get to that point of, like, you're just really sensitive to the energy that they bring. And just by the way they smell, you can smell this kind of spiritual stench where you know nothing but absolute filth is all they really have to offer at the bottom of their souls. So you have to get to the point to where you allow them to be collateral damage, really. And you allow them to be a liability, and you build your assets elsewhere. You know, many people are distracted in today's day and age. There's just no sense of focus. They have no clue what's going on in the present moment. And over the past week and a half or so, I've been heavily spiritually attacked with lustful thoughts and lustful women in my life. And it's all just sent. I know it's sent by Satan to distract me from my purpose, but it's getting very challenging to accept that these are the things that are happening right now. And it's not like life is going to shambles or anything like that. Like, I'm doing well, but it's not like it's just, it's causing it's like impinging on my bubble of inner peace. And it's just that they're trying to get to this point. And I'm not sure if it's just, I mean, I suppose it is just karma running off from my past. And it's almost like the universe is sending these people into my life to further understand deeper and darker secrets of feminine nature in general, but also what it's like to be a man that other women actually have genuine burning desire for, a visceral desire as well, which it's I can't say that I'm too familiar with this, because I was never I was never really an asset to myself growing up, I guess. And I was usually a liability when it came to relationships. And I had a lot of failures in my relationships. But looking back in retrospect, all of those failures served as a pathway to success in my modern day time. But a lot of these women still have just a distracted mindset. Like, I had a woman today at the gym. She's with her boyfriend. And she comes up to me and starts trying to get my attention. Like, with her boyfriend, who is pretty, like, he looks like he's a very healthy guy. But I could tell by the way he was communicating with her that, oh, she's the one that is, quote unquote, wearing the pants in the relationship. It's not him. And this is a guy that, like, he works out pretty hard. He looks like he really takes care of himself, but the emotional intelligence isn't there. And that was wild to see, because it was just like, here's this guy who is nearly probably 50 to 70 pounds heavier than I am, pure muscle. And yet with all of that gains, with all those gains, his girl is still looking to me. And that was the craziest thing to witness, like, before my eyes. It was just, each day is getting more and more spiritually bizarre, really. But I'm kind of used to the bizarreness. Like, it's just at this point, it's what kind of flavor of bizarre am I going to have today? That's kind of the mentality I have when I wake up. It's like, wow, I'm wondering what's going to happen today. I'm excited about all of the new things that are happening, and I'm excited to learn more, but I'm also a little bit, I wouldn't say concerned or scared per se, but it's more like attentive to the potential dangers of such spiritual ascension. And this is something that all of you have to keep in mind as well, is that the more you ascend on your spiritual path, the more people are going to be drawn to you, but not always in a good way. And a lot of these people are going to try to persecute you, but you have to remember that the reward is going to be greater on the other side than the persecution is. And that's what the story of Jesus taught us, was that he was persecuted for his virtues in the worst possible way, for being one of the best possible people to ever walk the planet. Or even if you were to just look at the story of Jesus, forget about the religious aspect of it for a moment. If you were to just look at the story and to hear what Jesus did, like, yeah, obviously he would be considered as the archetype of the self. Like, that is the most perfect human being that could walk the planet if he did, if you were to look at it from a story perspective alone. And so, yeah, there's a lot of weird miracles there, but I experience small miracles every day in my life. There's certain magnetisms of people that are drawing me toward certain experiences. And you're going to have to experience these kinds of experiences on your spiritual journey. There might be some kind of desire or this need or this want that you crave that will actually help you in your spiritual process. And you might actually have to do one of two things. You have to accept it or you have to act on it. And if you act on it, there are going to be certain consequences. And if you accept it, there are still going to be certain consequences, but they may not be as dramatic. And you may not notice it right away. Because here's the thing that I've also learned is that on your journey, you are going to be the last person to know where you really are and where you've really come from and where you're going. You're going to be the last person to know because that is what the spiritual self-realization is all about. It's that you were always there with you. You just didn't understand what it was like to be consciousness watching itself. And that's a really interesting thing to think about. But a lot of people just don't want to see the truth. They don't want to see the truth because the truth reveals people's faults. And it can poke at your ego as well. It can really pry and nod at certain things that you've got certain illusions about or certain viewpoints or belief systems on. But what else are you going to do? You're going to have to go through those kinds of experiences. And you're going to have to accept those as illusions. Else, you only really hurt yourself in the long run. So, the choice is yours, really. But something that I also wonder about is whether or not a lot of these people have ever considered humbling themselves. It's like, have you ever considered just being able to take accountability? Like, really, like, yeah, you fucked up. What are you, what now? Like, what, you don't want to accept it? You're going to deny reality? Really? You want to keep living behind the veil of truth? And you want to look into a wall of lies for the rest of your life? That sucks. That just sounds like it sucks. It sounds like a sucky life. And if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But that goes back to how sometimes truth tastes like those Brussels sprouts. It's disgustingly soggy, and you don't want to eat those Brussels sprouts, but there's not really anything else to eat around there for the time being. And so it's either go hungry or you eat go hungry for truth, or you eat the Brussels sprouts. Ugh. Even just thinking about it makes my stomach churn. But yeah, I don't like those Brussels sprouts, man. I don't like those. Not at all. I like broccoli, though. I like broccoli and asparagus. Those are some good vegetables that I like. But, man, Brussels sprouts, ugh. But I think I'm about done with this video, though. So please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And leave a comment. And that'll help the algorithms as well if you value content like this. You know, I'm not expecting to go super mainstream. I'm not expecting millions of followers, of course, because the things that I talk about on this channel are some of the things people generally don't even really know about, like semen retention. A lot of people don't know about that. Chosen ones. Some haven't even heard the term chosen ones. Like, they don't even know what that means. And a lot of the times narcissists, like, I remember the first time I heard about narcissists was just when I got to the point to where I was thinking to myself, like, what am I doing with this person? Like, why is this person blatantly lying? Like, I know they're lying, because I got to the point, believe this or not, I got to the point to where I was writing down. Like, it's so crazy to think about what I was doing. Like, I knew it was wrong, and yet I was still around these kinds of people because I didn't know any better. But what I did was I would actually write down what they said about certain things because it didn't sound right. And I wrote down in my journal, I was like, okay, they said this at this time. A couple days later, when that same topic came up, which was kind of a iffy topic to talk about, when that same topic came up, they said something different about the same thing. And I thought to myself in that moment, I didn't say anything to the narcissist at that point, but I thought, okay, something is definitely going on with this person. Like, they are absolutely lying blatantly to me. And I'm naive enough to believe that. So who's really the fool, right? Like in Star Wars, when Obi-Wan says, who's the fool or the fool who follows him? That's what it felt like. I was the fool who was following the fool. And when I finally broke off from the narcissistic relationship, the first one that I had, that I knew that I could say, okay, that is a narcissistic woman. It's like God said, I'm going to give you the woman that you think you dream about. I'm going to give you the woman with eyes that captivate your soul. And then I'm going to break your soul with the truth that this woman is actually an agent of Satan. And she is here to teach you a lesson about love. And then I had other narcissistic relationships following that with men as well. Covert narcs, though. I never really was attracted to overt narcs in men because I could smell them from a mile away, the overts. But it was always the covert narc women and men that always like got to me because they made me feel sorry for them in some way. They made me feel as though I could rely on them in some way, in a certain way that nobody else could. And it was that weird connection where they trauma bond you, right? But anyway, those covert men, they taught me how to stand up for myself. And they taught me that, yes, even men can be emotionally delusional. And when they are emotionally delusional, it's almost worse than a female that is emotionally delusional. Because at least when a woman is emotionally delusional, everybody knows that she is like okay, yep, she is delusional. But with the men, he can almost make you feel bad about the delusion that you actually see, but he's making you feel bad that you see it. Whereas the woman can destroy your reputation and completely annihilate who people perceive you to be. Whereas the man will make you feel as though you have no idea what reality is. And that is a weird thing. Like, that is a weird situation. I guess I had a little bit more to say about this topic, but with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. And till next time, peace be with you.